Some managers just supervise oxygen consumption because they sure ain't going to lead nobody nowhere. Also, scientists have discovered the best spokesperson for mushrooms they've ever had. My name is Bud Ford. I appreciate you spending time with me today. Thanks for being a part of @BudFord Comedy. If you haven't subscribed yet, it'd be cool if you did. I'd appreciate it. Also today, I have an update on grill construction 2026, which got a little out of hand. Let's not kid ourselves. It said a 2-hour build. Well, I got an update for you 2 days later. That's how it went. Hoping to use it again tonight. We'll find out. I've been known to leave jobs for hundreds of reasons, but people typically quit jobs because of bad managers. You and I probably worked for a clown or two. So I had this job where my first one, I worked at a drugstore called Revco. I don't even think they're still in business, but I got to work and he wanted me every day. I rode my bicycle to work. I was young because where I grew up, we started working immediately in high school, which seemed to make sense then. But the older I get, the more I realize kids shouldn't do that, I don't think. I think they should enjoy those years, even though it's going to be expensive on the parents. Once you start working, once you clock in, I've talked about it on this show, once you clock in, you never get to clock out until you're done working. So I wouldn't rush that on anybody. 3 hours is what this manager thought it was going to take me to sweep and mop the pharmacy, take the trash out. 3 hours. I'm like, bro, it's a pharmacy, not the Super Bowl. It took me about 25 minutes and I was done. Now what am I going to do? Swept, mop, trash out, everything looked great. I've dusted. Now I'm just standing here because you can't finish early. That looks suspicious. And some days you can just wander up into the pharmacy and help Uncle Louie or Don up there as their pharmacist. Was I qualified? No, I didn't really have to be, though. I could count to 30, and that's really all I had to do. Then disappear in the stock room for a little while. Cost 3 hours. I built myself a platform back there where I could go take a little nap, so I'd do that. And again, it wasn't because I was lazy. It was because there was literally nothing for me to do. Sometimes I'd just be sitting in there thinking. Sometimes I'd do homework. Some days, like I said, I would nap. I basically had a wellness retreat set up there. And for the 80s, not everyone got to go to one or even knew what they were. Or did they exist? I don't know. We had clinics you could go to, but I think that was different. And that's the problem with bad managers. I'm not going to call the man a bad manager. I'm just going to say, bro, you got to challenge people. They confuse motion with productivity. I worked with a guy one time that if you walked fast, you were good. You didn't really have to accomplish anything. Nothing. No one cared. Just walk swiftly. Pretty sure that first job I had, I could have swept in the same spot for 3 hours, and my manager would have been like, yeah, see that boy right there? He going places. That and there is. Because that equaled productivity for him. Probably could have been employed a month and everything. Some managers don't really want results. They want theater. They want to see the struggle. They want you to spend half the day walking around carrying one piece of paper, look at it a little bit. Nobody knows what you're doing. It doesn't matter. You just need to look busy. And that's kind of the secret to life. I call it corporate cosplay, but you can call it whatever. Some people call it management. Every office, as we know, has that one manager that'll stop by your desk and be all like, you look like you don't have enough to do. Or, I'm just good at this, stupid. Shouldn't you be back at your desk? Not bother me at mine? I mean, imagine saying that to a firefighter. Looks like you don't have enough fires to put out. What? You know, when you get done doing the stuff that you have to do, then you can improve things. You can build new processes. We can create things. That's how things get done. You can learn something, help your neighbor, be better for the community. Any old thing would be better than just wasting time doing needless, dumb stuff. I had a manager once that would tell me, if you have time to lean, you got time to clean. He always wanted you busy because to him that meant that you were doing things. And it did mean that you weren't sitting around. And some people are prone to do that. I might be known to sit around on occasion. Job taught me an important lesson, though, a lot about managers. Some people become managers because they're natural leaders of people. And like I said earlier, other people become managers because they hung around long enough. And everyone else, through attrition, just left. Now, not much has changed in the real world. My performance reviews are kind of still the same. They usually have a line that says, "We're really looking for less efficiency and more visible broom movement." There's a lady with advanced Alzheimer's. She was nonverbal. They started psychedelic mushroom therapy. Next thing you know, she's talking and she's improving. Now, I'm not saying that's fix all, it's fixed everything, it's one study, and I'm not even saying that I'm a mushroom fan, but what I'm saying is, what if the stuff we think we know about mushrooms is wrong? What if it's not just your cousin Dave using them and telling you, "Man, I can totally hear colors, man"? Maybe it's something else. Maybe there's something else to that. Now we have scientists in lab coats going, maybe Dave was onto something. This will be the greatest pharmaceutical comeback in history. Mushrooms for 50 years. Everyone has told us the only place them are good for is at music festivals and for making really bad decisions. Now, you're going into the Mayo Clinic and they're like, "Have we talked to you about psilocybin?" The woman regained speech, remembered things, and became engaged with the world again. Researchers are like, we don't want to jump to conclusions, but maybe it's like broccoli. Remember when they told us broccoli would kill us? Now it's in everything. Probably need an apology to broccoli. They're not getting it. Coffee's been on the bad list. No, wait, it's on the good list. Eggs are going to kill you. No, wait, they have good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. What? Sugar's the end of the world. We have reached the age where I do not believe anything will fix anything until it's been bad at least 3 times. And mushrooms? They have needed a better PR team for a long time. Worst public relations campaign ever. I mean, the only time you hear about them is from some dude named Kyle who shakes a little bit and tells you how wonderful they make him feel and how much better he is. Well, I'd hated to see him before. Now, doctors are all of a sudden going, you know what? We should probably investigate. And I also love that some pharmaceutical executive had to hear this news. What? We've spent $12 billion trying to create a wonder drug. Meanwhile, a fungus in the woods is beating us. That has to sting. It has to sting deep down in your loins if that's your job. Imagine if the cure to cancer's been hiding all along behind a fallen log. The pharmaceutical commercials are going to have to change. Ask your doctor if wandering through the forest is right for you. Side effects include seeing elephants become motivational speakers. Don't take mushrooms if you're allergic to mushrooms. Now, maybe this study goes nowhere. Maybe they never duplicate the results. Or maybe your doctor starts every appointment in the future with, "So have you ever considered taking a really long hike and licking the landscaping?" If you were here for the show the other day and you were involved with the Great Grill Saga, let me tell you what happened on that. If you missed it, short version, the grill where I moved looked like this one. It was bottom of the line, cheap, thin metal. I like to grill. It's an art form for me, and I don't want to be cooking on something that's not going to give me a hand, and that thing was atrocious. So I bought this Weber, and I'm not here to sell the Weber. I don't care about the Weber, but the story is I bought it, and I went to put it together, and it said, "Hey, 2 hours on the box, you're fine." Well, I started putting it together, and I'm losing daylight. It's 1,007 degrees because I'm in Arizona. It was a dumb play. In the middle, I realized, bro, this is not happening. Then the next day, all that metal's looking at me. You know how judgmental it is. It can be that way. And so I didn't do anything, and it was like kryptonite for me. Then the next day, I was like, you know what? I am finishing this. There's your first night shot. Its first night in Arizona was spent just sitting with no top. Topless. That's what it was. So I had to put the flavor bars on, the flavorizers, all that stuff, and got it all done. And so I worked out there in the middle of the afternoon one day, and I did an hour and 20 minutes worth at 5 o'clock. I was like, I'm feeling woozy. The heat got to me, so I had to go in. And then it took another day, whatever. Either way, let me just tell you, I finally got that sucker upright, and it has one of those burners on the side. I think I talked about it the other day. And I bought it because turning any heat on in my house in Arizona at this time of year, bad idea. I'm not complaining about the heat, I'm just stating facts. So this is great. I've already cooked on it outside, so that was nice. Now, that's the way it looked in the end, which I think is very cool. It's very pretty. Big red knob for the sear zone. It's a fun grill, and it's full size. It's not the little one, it's the Genesis. So I was kind of happy with that. Then I cooked the first little steak on it there, and I went and bought a cheap steak, $10, because my girl and I have been talking about cooking a tomahawk. I can't wait to cook a tomahawk. But it's a brand new grill. I don't know the tool that well, and I sure don't want to fail in front of my girl. That ain't going to be okay. She was at work. I went and bought this steak, and I put it on there. Notice, if you look in this picture, if you can see it, if you're just listening to the audio, on the grill, I have a steak, a $10 sirloin. It's not a good steak. It's a steak. I wanted to try and see what I could get out of it. I don't know how you do yours, but on mine, I took a little olive oil, I put it on there. I had soaked it in beer for about 2 hours. I do that to kind of break that top tendon open, gives it a little more cuttability. It keeps it from being so hard, chewy. I don't like that. So my teeth shouldn't have to do that much work. So I let that sit in beer for a couple of hours. Then I dried it off, and I made a nice coating on it, a bark, if you will, a potential bark with a little olive oil on the base, and then I put some kosher salt and some coarse ground black pepper. Nothing amazing, like every other steakhouse in America. Make sure I got the edges. Then I took it out to the grill, and I put on that sear zone. I never worked with those sear zones. The temperature, I watched it go up to 700 degrees the night before, so it's pretty sick how fast it'll jump. So I turned it on, got it up to about 500, and I threw that sucker on. Now, I've worked around grills a lot in my life. I've cooked on a lot of different grills. You can get a good bark, but I've never seen a bark like that. Grill marks like that, and I'm telling you, it had a salt bark around it. It was amazing. You cut through it, the taste, absolutely, every morsel was unbelievable. Now, it was still a sirloin, so it was not easy to chew through. I'm not saying that. The outside, it was tender enough, but that's a different cut of meat. I was trying to cook it just to make sure I could make it edible. And for $10, that's probably one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life. It was just unbelievable. You can see how it looks there. Now, that, if you saw on the thing, I can back it up one, I think. There. Look, you see on the eye I have the meat, and I have another little pan that is a cast iron dish. That cast iron dish, I put half a stick of butter in. And then what I did was I gave the steak a butter bath. I would put it on, then rotate it after a minute and 20, rotate it a little bit, minute 20 later, take it off, butter bathe it, put it back on the grill, and then do the same thing on the other side. Unbelievable. So that's why when you see the picture of it glistening and you're like, that thing's beautiful, it's because it's been in a butter bath its whole life. And let me tell you, that steak, like I said, was unbelievable. In the end, that wasn't a sales pitch for the grill, but it's an update on what happened. I appreciate you being a part of @Bud Ford Comedy. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and thank you for all you do.